Once a year, every year, all of us, collectively, are subjected to a phenomenon known as April Fool's Day. The precise origin of this day is largely unknown, but historians have widely speculated that during the 1500s, in France, the switch between Julian and Gregorian calendars resulted in many people being confused about the new year beginning in January rather than April. Over time, this became a sort of cultural joke, if you will, and those who were unaware of that transition were the targets of widespread ridicule and pranks. Regardless of why it exists precisely, April Fool's Day has been celebrated for centuries by several different cultures all around the globe. And today I want to look at the aftermath of this holiday, because it's not always just innocent little practical jokes. Some companies and people take this tradition entirely too seriously to a point of mass hysteria, financial crimes, and even jokes that very nearly result in war. Without further ado, let's take a look at the aftermath of April Fool's Day. March 31st, 1940, a radio station called KYM in Philadelphia announces the following, quote, "Your worst fears that the world will end are confirmed by astronomers of Franklin Institute, Philadelphia. Scientists predict that the world will end at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. This is no April Fool's joke. Confirmation can be obtained from Wagner Schlesinger, director of the Fels Planetarium of this city." End quote. This was an interesting choice of a prank, and indeed, the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia had issued a press announcement through their agent, William Castellini. Castellini had thought that this was a good way to gain publicity for the planetarium, and structured this as an April Fool's prank to get more people to attend a lecture at the building. Obviously, it backfired. Two important factors came into play here. One, this was a scientific institute who pushed the announcement through a radio station, so instead of a simple one-party joke, just a one-off comedic encounter, it was being disseminated by a news station on behalf of a credible institute. Two, they decided to add "this is no April Fool's joke," which is obviously a very risky thing to do when it is in fact an April Fool's joke. The result? Citywide panic. And the chaos only began to subside when the Institute issued a follow-up statement clarifying that no, none of it was real, and there was no danger. Castellini was obviously fired shortly after. Thankfully, there was very little actual damage as a result of this prank, and it's also not even close to the most harmful on this list, but as one of the earlier examples, at least documented examples, in a long line of disastrous April Fool's Day decisions, it felt like a good starting point. Moving forward through time, we arrive at April 1st, 1980. After the standard 6 o'clock news segment, WNAC-TV in Massachusetts aired a special bulletin claiming that Great Blue Hill was actually erupting as an active volcano. This by itself might not have been so bad, it really wasn't, but they also decided to include edited clips of then-President Jimmy Carter as if he were expressing great concern over the eruption, as well as out-of-context clips from Governor Edward King, which also, again, expressed great concern. They showed imagery of lava and even tied it back to Mount St. Helens, claiming it was a geological chain reaction. Needless to say, this went horribly wrong. Milton residents, the town of Milton, began to flee their homes, and when all was said and done, having finally curbed the panic of this prank gone wrong, the executive producer for the 6 o'clock news, Homer Killey, was fired from the station. Again, obviously. One would think that news stations might have better overall judgment, but no, they didn't, and they don't. Next up is probably one of the most dangerous and narrowly avoided disasters directly as a result of April Fools, probably in history. April 1st, 1986, an Israeli army intelligence officer has an idea and decides, "I'm going to prank the world." How does he do this? Well, it's simple. He manufactures and disseminates a false report that Nabi Berri, a Lebanese Shiite leader, has been seriously injured in an assassination attempt. This false report made it all the way to popular Israeli media outlets and was broadcasted in English and Hebrew for the better part of the day, before the military managed to get it taken down. Mr. Berri was a militia leader, and his followers were not receptive to this news at all, largely blaming Israel for the suspected assassination attempt, which led to increased tension and damn near resulted in an actual war. The intelligence officer was later imprisoned and the mess was cleaned up, largely speaking, but on a danger scale of 1 to 10, I would rank this as a very easy 9. Let's jump forward in time to something much more recent. April 1st, 2013, a pair of Florida DJs decided to have a little bit of fun and warned their audience that a widespread chemical, dihydrogen monoxide or DHMO, was contained in their tap water. Of course, for anyone with any knowledge of chemistry whatsoever, this is an obvious prank because DHMO means 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, H2O, aka water. They were basically saying that your tap water contains water. What they failed to realize, however, is that a large number of people have no idea what this means and are likely to react strongly when they believe that their water supply is unsafe. Keep in mind, water purity in the United States is not even a sure thing, and 1 year later, almost exactly 1 year later, Flint, Michigan would endure one of the worst water crisis events the country has ever seen. Suffice it to say, this went very poorly, and there was panic. The DJs were suspended indefinitely and faced possible felony charges for stating that the scientific name for water was coming out of your faucet. What a world we live in. Jumping back a few years, we can see a hilarious yet alarming display of April Fool's Day shenanigans when the Jordanian newspaper, published in Al Ghad, published a front-page cover story about aliens who had landed near the town of Jaffa. The story went into great detail and described the atmosphere as that of invasion with a whole bunch of flowery, colorful language. Fearing for their lives, parents kept children home from school, some families fled the town entirely, and the mayor, in conjunction with security agencies, prepared to declare a mass evacuation order, all because of a newspaper and an April Fool's joke. It's unclear precisely why this particular town was targeted, but the newspaper issued a formal apology for the stunt very soon after, and apparently, April Fool's Day jokes are not a common occurrence in Jordan, which made this even more egregious when you consider the fact that they were causing panic in a small town that didn't even really understand that this particular day is filled with pranks and deception. How about this one? And this one is probably one of my favorites. March 29th, 2021, CNBC reports that a rebrand of Volkswagen has been leaked. This one doesn't even seem like an April Fool's joke because it's not on April Fool's Day. Widely reported 3 days early, it was claimed that Volkswagen would be changing its US operations name to Volkswagen as an effort to raise awareness of its growing electric car line. That's not even a big deal, and it's completely plausible. However, this was nothing more than an April Fool's Day prank, which happened to be disseminated 3 days early and was taken entirely serious by the financial markets. It's actually pretty interesting to examine because the leak took place in multiple stages. First was a half-finished document that indicated the rebrand. Second was a full-scale version with quotes from the CEO even, and very little in the way of humorous or satirical language, right? Surface level, this does not seem like a prank at all. And the third stage was a retraction claiming this was a botched April Fool's Day prank before April 1st had even happened. It turned out that the financial markets, taking this campaign directly at face value, had reacted and popped the share price by over 10%. In essence, this was a fake announcement before April Fool's Day had even happened that artificially inflated the company's share price, and in a move that should surprise no one, really it shouldn't, the SEC came in to investigate, obviously. When fake announcements are causing Wall Street guidance upgrades and impacting the financial future of a publicly traded company, well, maybe don't do that as an April Fool's Day joke. Last one, also the most recent. Keeping in line with our financial angle here, let's look at the Kava network in 2022. Kava is, from what I can tell, a fairly popular blockchain project. Their token Kava is priced at about $5 a coin right now, and in a crypto bull market, Kava is performing quite well. I won't speak to the legitimacy of the project or the framework or any of that really. I'll stay focused on April Fools, but I want to say that any company willing to do what Kava has done is probably not one with quality decision making. April 1st, 2022, Kava decided to put out a tweet at precisely 9:13 p.m. local time. This matters because timeline is a very serious consideration in the broader picture here. The tweet read as follows, quote, "So excited to announce that Elon Musk just confirmed Kava is the first L1 network to power yield farming while you drive, coming to all Teslas starting tomorrow," end quote. This is a tremendous partnership, and even more important, Elon Musk is a sort of deity figure in crypto right now. His vocal advocacy for certain tokens and projects has led to conflict with the SEC multiple times in the past, and his involvement in a partnership like this one, it really is possible. Directly after this announcement, again, a tremendous partnership if true, and one that plausibly could be true to some degree in the eyes of many investors, the token price of Kava begins to skyrocket. The price shoots up over 10% in mere minutes, with no sign whatsoever of slowing down. From 9:13 to 9:36, all green. At 9:37, just kidding. Kava tweets out, "Happy April Fools," referencing this partnership, and the token price immediately drops like a rock, back down even lower than where it started. This is probably the most blatant possible example of financial manipulation. Kava deleted the tweets immediately after, again to me indicating guilt, and yet the damage was already done. Plenty of people bought into the project as a direct result of that prank, and 24 minutes later, they got hamstrung by the Kava network employees themselves, who had made the whole thing up as an April Fool's Day stunt. All of this is very cut and dry. This needs to be investigated and prosecuted because there are examples out there of leveraged accounts being liquidated and margin called directly because of what Kava did. Now, yes, there is always a certain amount of risk involved with that type of trading. People need to have some agency and responsibility for their actions, but traders who base their decision-making process on actual company announcements, only to have plausible and monumental partnerships be faked by the actual project account themselves, yeah, that's not okay. Also, it's just completely disrespectful to your own audience. These people actually do think that crypto is some kind of world-changing technology, and they believe in figures like Elon Musk with cult-level fanaticism. Kava decided to leverage that with something that really wasn't comedic at all, and caused a financial ripple that was most likely capitalized on by numerous insiders. April Fool's is supposed to be lighthearted fun, not financial crimes. In a world where social media and online information sharing has broken down communication barriers like never before, April Fool's Day is evolving. For some people, it's a little joke here and there that can't be taken too seriously, but for others, it's about mass manipulation and hardcore profiteering. A tradition born hundreds of years ago is actually very scary at times, because expecting everyone to understand your joke when that joke is a falsified intelligence report that might lead to war, or pumping a crypto token with false partnerships, or creating fake volcano eruptions for nighttime news, these pranks have consequences, and the effects can be felt long after the day itself has passed. Basically, April Fool's Day is a day with lingering consequences, and I thought it would be fun to look at the more sinister side of the holiday, when some people are over here just doing practical jokes at home. That's it. If you want to support, there are links down below. I apologize for my voice right now. I've been sick recently, and also I'm leaving for vacation tomorrow, so I'll be out of town with no videos at all for about 12 days. I know that's a long time with very little notice on my part, but when I come back, I'll dive right in again. So, as always, thank you all for watching. Links down below to support. Please check them out, and have a nice night.